Hey everybody, it's Pete. Good morning. Welcome to a new episode of Stocks for Breakfast. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're going to focus on PayPal stock and whether or not PayPal stock is a buying opportunity. I know we spend a lot of time about not buying stocks simply because they got crushed. Today we're going to take a look at it from a different angle. We're also going to talk about how to script out what we need to see happen there. We're also going to talk about, if you paid attention yesterday morning, how we scripted out what we needed to see for the week, the same way that we did last week. And here's the difference. Last week, what we scripted out did not unfold, so we just left it alone. This week, so far, the market is scripting out and unfolding exactly the way that we mentioned and the way that we were looking. And I'm going to talk about the difference between one week to the next and how professional traders handle the difference and why struggling traders don't recognize the difference between those two. And that's why they're struggling in the first place. Second thing we're going to talk about is going to go over a couple of questions from our coaching call last night. Which were pretty good. One of the things that got brought up last night is about dabbling. It's probably one of the biggest pet peeves that I have is when somebody talks about dabbling stocks and why they can't succeed. I'm dabbling, but I can't understand why I can't succeed. And I had a pretty harsh answer for that last night. Last night's coaching call was nearly 2 hours. Which we have every Monday night. And I think the coaching calls are probably one of the most valuable part of being in the boot camp. So you have to be in the boot camp to participate or watch the replays. I think right now we have quite a few replays available that you can watch, at least 10 hours of coaching every single month. So on top of what we do in the regular Discord community where we're actually talking about trades during the day, there's an additional 10 hours of training on top of the videos. So I say that because I want to inspire you to think about how much work you're putting into the results that you're getting right now. So when you choose to buy stocks, are you putting in enough work to expect to make more money? I will tell you, we get a lot of new members coming in, and after about a week or so, they realize that it can be simple, but you still have to put in the hours. And I'll give you something as simple as doing a game plan at night, which generally speaking takes me roughly 90 minutes every night to get to the point where I have conviction in the list of stocks that I plan to trade during the day. So dabbling is kind of a pet peeve, but I'm going to break that down a little bit further in the context of the question. I'm going to show you the question. We also have a bunch of other stuff. I got two really hysterical Omicron headlines that I want to read you to. And I say hysterical in relation to the market. We're going to talk about a trading plan template, which is something that we gave everybody. And I'm going to give you the link for that as well. And of course, we're going to get into more stock picks besides speaking about PayPal today. So we have a lot to discuss in today's video. So stick around. I'll be back in just 1 second. Okay, so everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. Obviously, as with every video that we have, everything we discuss here is for educational purposes. It's up to you to make that final decision. It's my mission to help you make better decisions. So I just want to come up on the screen really quickly. And I want to show you a couple of headlines from a week ago to today. And this is why you need to understand how to read the order flow and why you need to understand how to read the tape. It is critical that you make your own decisions and not, I can't repeat, not make decisions based on headlines. So I just want to show you this because I found it pretty funny. I think that you will too. So here is the headline from last week, literally last week, just a week ago today. Omicron fears stocks and oil slide. And here we are today. Stocks, futures, oil, bonds gain on Omicron optimism. So that is not a testament to the people who wrote those articles. It's more a wake-up call for you that you should not let anybody else influence your decisions of how you're going to manage your money, of how you're going to place trading, how you're going to place new trades, and how you're going to manage those trades. Shouldn't be afraid because of a headline. You shouldn't be over enthusiastic because of a headline. You need to do what we talk about every day, which is putting yourself in charge of the outcome. If you're just reading those headlines and trading off of the headlines, you're going to be bouncing back and forth like a pinball machine. And look, let's face it, whether you're watching cable news or whether you're reading headlines on the internet, I will tell you personally, and it can't be a shock to anybody, most of those headlines are written so that when you're scrolling, you stop because of how dramatized those headlines are. So I can't stress this enough. Again, if you take nothing else out of this morning's call, take out of this call that you need to learn how to make your own decisions, whether it's here on these free YouTube videos and the training that we have here on YouTube, or if you take the plunge and join us in the boot camp where I will show you exactly what to do. This can't be expressed any more clearly. Just 1 week to the next, where the world is falling apart because of Omicron, and now a week later, everything's okay. And it's fading away and going into the dust. As we mentioned yesterday, I think a lot of the selling that we saw over a 2-week period is anticipation of conversations around interest rates rising. I don't think there's any other way to put it, and I think that's pretty much evidenced by that. So we're going to work our way over into PayPal, and I'm just going to come off the screen just a little bit here. We're going to talk about getting involved in PayPal and what it means. PayPal addressing the analysts. Now, the big reason that PayPal kind of got hammered recently was a downgrade, and the stock was down 4%, but it was actually down a little bit more than that. We're going to talk about building an argument for determining how to start getting involved. So first thing I want to point out is we talked about building an argument for the market yesterday. We actually built an argument for the SPY. And if you remember, we actually drew this line over here on Monday, and we said the market needed to go well bid on Monday, which it did. Higher highs, higher lows, closed near the upper portion of the range. And we said, if we get that, then we're going to start looking for some follow through. And Monday's opening price is the big line in the sand that we are paying attention to as far as, are we getting conviction? Now, that's a big part of trading, and that's a big part of expecting to make money. And I know that that's a pretty strong statement about expecting to make money. And we're going to tie this into PayPal and whether or not we should be looking to buy PayPal stock, what the price action needs to be if we decide to dip our toes into PayPal stock on its way down. But this is the point that I want to make. And I wrote a long email about this today, and I'll actually post it in the community here on YouTube so that you can actually read it a little bit later. This is the difference between somebody who is making money, losing money, making money, losing money, reading headlines and trading off the headlines, and making money, losing money, feeling like you know everything about trading, but you can't get profitable. At the end of every month, maybe you make a little bit, lose a little bit, maybe you lose a lot, but you just can't get to the other side. This is what struggling traders, inexperienced traders, or quite frankly, even experienced traders who aren't making money fail to understand. When I talk about scripting out, as we did in a lot of detail in yesterday's video, we are not talking about predicting price action. And that is one of the most misunderstood things about trading that especially new traders maybe just don't learn in time, where we mapped out what we needed to see happen last week and it didn't unfold. So we had a little bit less activity last week. Did the same exact thing this week. We said, this is exactly what we're looking for price action this week. If it unfolds, then we plan to trade this way. So far this week, it's unfolding. Last week, it didn't. Last week, we laid back a little bit, less activity, less share size, lower profit targets in the context of price action not unfolding the way we scripted or wanted to see or needed to see. So far this week, it's unfolding exactly the way that we were looking to see. It was impressive yesterday that we had a higher opening, pushed up, held the bid. But more importantly, we had what might be called a broad-based rally. So if you could take a look at this in a little bit more detail, you'll see that it wasn't just one sector yesterday. The market itself lit up across the board, which is pretty exciting. And no shock, right, that healthcare is actually the one that was the weakest yesterday simply because of now the positive headlines about Omicron. So this is what you need to see and need to do on a daily basis. You need to start understanding what you should be looking at and how that money should be flowing in and out of sectors. So that's how we mapped out last week now and coming into this week. So now how do we map out trading PayPal this week and whether or not it's going to be an opportunity to buy? PayPal's in a big bearish order flow right now, but something changed despite the fact that there is a big obvious move to the downside. And that's actually what we're going to map out right now. Okay, so we're going to go over to the PayPal charts and discuss what's happened, why it's happened. Clearly, the stock topped out over here and has been going down ever since. And again, if you're a regular viewer of the channel, you know that we like to work the charts. And as the stock continues to move down, it's our job to continue to work the charts until we identify a potential change of trend. Now, the biggest thing that I am noticing right now, this by a mile, is the volume, and this is actually the 20-day average of volume. You can see the volume is continuing to increase or remain elevated even after this big move to the downside. If you understand price action, if you understand how to follow the footprints of the smart money, generally speaking, when you get a push up and a pause, we want that pause to be on lighter volume, which implies follow through. The opposite of that is when we get big moves to the downside, despite the headlines, big moves to the downside, and we start to go sideways. If we go sideways on light volume, we can anticipate that nothing has changed and we will continue to go to the downside. Excuse me. If we push down and go sideways on heavier volume, if not even more increasing volume, that implies something has changed for the previous bearish order flow. Now, that's exactly what we're seeing here in PayPal. So I just want to make this a little bit bigger so you can take a screenshot of this so you have this for your portfolio of understanding price action and reading those smart money footprints. So you can see over here on the push down, volume is heavy, and that was to be expected. This pause right here was on lighter volume. You can see that it was below all of the heavier volume. Then we push down, and now we're going sideways, and we are still seeing heavier volume. The volume has not been consistently low during this push down. So that means right now in PayPal, something different is happening before the price action changes. And this is the kind of the little things in reading the tape and reading the order flow that make the difference between having PayPal in your tracking journal already before smart money has to start stepping up and paying higher prices. Now, does that mean you just start to jump in right now and start buying? Well, not necessarily, but maybe. And what that means now at this point is we need to start to see, is PayPal at any significant price level where buyers stepped in and did something last time? And the answer actually at this point is yes. At this point and at this price, again, support and resistance should be kept as simple as possible. But you can see here just below this price, maybe another $10 lower is where buyers stepped in and launched it higher and held the bid for the better part of 2020 into the big move ending 2020 into early 2021. Now, does that mean that we just get in there and start buying? The answer is no. It means that we're putting the clues together. We're building the argument to consider PayPal buying the stock. And then we need to start to see clues where the smart money is no longer just sitting on the bid buying with all of that volume. And again, they can continue to say, I'm going to buy at the better price because they're still active sellers. Smart money needs to pay up when the selling dries up and they still want more stock. Remember, for the institutions, for smart money, it's more important that they actually get the shares at a reasonable price than it is to get the perfect price. Because if they're trading for the next big move, they do not want to go to their PM, their portfolio manager, and say, well, I didn't get enough shares. That's the last thing they want to say. So if the selling dries up, they have to start paying higher prices. So the question then comes in is, how do you start to see that? Well, before we just looked at the daily chart, now we make our way over to the weekly chart. So we work our way up to more time commitments and not just 1 day of buying, now 5 days of buying, 10 days of buying. So if you take a look over here on the weekly chart, we've stopped going down, and now we are early but above the opening price. So if you remember what we talked about with the SPY, we needed to map it out. We said 2 weeks ago, we were looking at the opening price at all-time highs. It didn't follow through. Last week, we were looking at the opening price, and it didn't follow through, so we didn't do anything. So far this week, we're above the opening price and opening higher right now. So that's the same type of price action that we're looking for in PayPal right now. If we move this up and we have the opening in Monday's price action, we're looking for follow through with significant volume on Tuesday and today and this week. So this is what separates somebody who already is aware something changed from somebody who's reading the headline in PayPal maybe a week or two from now when the stock goes up 10%. We're already paying attention to it because we recognize something different. We're already paying attention to it because last year at these price levels is where buyers stepped in and decided this was the right price, where they thought value meant something, and the stock rallied over the next 6 months. So now PayPal is on my radar, but I am looking for at least 5 days worth of buying by the smart money, which we will see from Monday's price action and whether or not higher volume steps up and we start to see higher prices from one day to the next. If we see that, now we have reasons and we have a risk point. I can't express strongly enough. You need both of those. Far too many traders just put on trades because of volatility and don't have good reasons and don't have a risk point. So what we just outlined in PayPal are all of the things I want to see unfold this week. If those things unfold, then I will start to build a position. Then what's the next thing I need to see over the next week to 3 weeks? Now, if those things unfold and I have my first piece on, so in other words, this week shows buying pressure, this week shows smart money paying higher prices and an increase in volume, my next entry will be the push and the pause, and that second move up there, that pause, is where I'll look to add to the trade. So I'm scripting out PayPal. If all of those things happen, I already have my next 2 entries, even though I'm not in the trade yet. If PayPal continues to slide to the downside and goes down into that 175, 178 area where we mentioned that was where buyers did something significant, I'll reevaluate the trade and look for the same scenarios. This is what makes the difference between somebody who expects to make money every single month versus somebody who hopes to make money every single month. You need to script out every single thing you need to see happen in order for you to choose to put your money in harm's way. It's when you are just simply reacting to price or reacting to an alert or reacting to a headline that you don't have control over the outcome. When you are doing it this way, you have absolute control over the outcome, because if it happens, fine. You step in because you know exactly what you plan to do and what you need to see. If it doesn't happen, you simply leave it alone. I have to give it that much detail because every time I call out ideas, I get somebody in the chat saying, you were wrong, it went down. And I'll give you an example from yesterday. We'll pull up a stock that we talked about from yesterday, which was Pfizer. And if you go back to the video from yesterday and talk about Pfizer, so you can see where Pfizer was, you can see the price action in Pfizer yesterday. We actually rallied. Then we went into a little bit more of a parabolic move, and Pfizer actually paused yesterday. So this is this is the part that's kind of fun, where we separate who's really desiring to learn how to trade versus trying to prove themselves right. I'm straight up telling you yesterday, I said I loved Pfizer yesterday as one of my top ideas yesterday based on the relative strength in the stock over the last 2 weeks. But I was also super clear that I said we needed to break out of Friday's price action in order for me to put the trade on. It's that second part that amateur traders or struggling traders or traders trying to prove themselves right simply do not get. And I'm here to throw some cold water on you right now. There's more to it than just the setup. You still need to say, if this happens after the setup, then I plan to trade. Pfizer, after I loved it yesterday morning, traded lower, continued to trade lower, so I did nothing. So for those of you that happened to message me yesterday and said I was wrong and I'm losing money on this trade, I was very clear. I'm not even in it because it did not do what I expected it and wanted to see it do. I can't express the difference between the two. So if you feel this pressure that you found something in a book or you found something on YouTube and you think it's the holy grail of trading entries, and just because the setup happened, but you don't get price action moving in your favor, stop trying to be right. Script out what you need to see. When the market opens, it doesn't matter if you're day trading or swing trading. The market opens, you have your coffee, you have your list, you know exactly what you plan to do. And then it's just a question of, if it unfolds, you place the trades. That's what the highest levels of trading are. Everything is planned. You are prepared. You are not reacting. If you feel like trading is overwhelming and it's banging you around like whack-a-mole right now, you simply need to go one level higher and learn how to script out what you plan to do. So I'm going to give you a link right now because we just mapped out everything that I'm looking to see before I choose to buy PayPal stock. I want to give you a link right now, which is a big part of understanding. I'm giving you an entire outline of understanding how to map out every single thing you need to do so you dramatically reduce all the stress associated with trading. Because I'm telling you, trading's a business, and it's simply, okay, if that happens, I'm doing that. If that happens, I'm doing that. It's simple, but you need to do the work on a Tuesday night for 90 minutes or a Saturday at 90 minutes, whatever it happens to be. Allocate that time aside. And I'm going to also talk about that question that we had before about somebody dabbling. So I'm getting into the dabblers right now. I'm talking to you. So we're going to pull up the screen right now, and I'm going to give you this link, and I want to show you how to find it. Okay. So if you go to our website, there's this entire page, and I'm going to give you the link right now. All of the stuff I'm going to give you right now is completely free. You just have to go to the website. What I want you to do is to click on this link over here, how to create a winning trading plan. Now, what you can see here is when you go to this page, it's got an entire outline plus training on how to implement this trading plan. Everything you need to do, all you need to do is fill in the strategy. And I'm going to talk about this here for a second when we get to dabbling, okay? So all of this is completely free. All you have to do is click that link, go in there and look at everything. And I'll actually give you the exact link here. I'm giving you this for a reason that we talked about on our coaching call last night, which is this. And I want everybody to take a snapshot of this. Jaroslav has a lot of good questions, but he kind of hit one of the things last night that a lot of traders need to understand is this here, okay? Dabbling into trading. Inconsistent, not consistently profitable trader, while he's admitting he's dabbling. He's trading some futures, he's trading some Forex, he's trading some stocks. But I can't say I'm consistently profitable after a couple of years of trading. After 3 years of trading, dabbling, futures, Forex, stocks, not consistent. And the other question he has down here about trading when he's mentally exhausted. So I just want to bring this up, and I want to touch on this. So hopefully you click on both of those links. You'll go in there and get the trading outline and just fill it in. You'll be surprised. As a matter of fact, I think you'll be shocked at how little of a game plan you have compared to what it really means to expect to make money. And remember, you hear me talk about this all the time. There is a Grand Canyon difference between chart reading and trading. Chart reading, you're looking for patterns. You're trying to identify the perfect moving average. That's chart reading. Trading is everything outlined in that template that I just gave you. Fill it out and then come back with questions. Ask questions in the comments below. That's how I can help you. Whether you choose to join the bootcamp or not, that's up to you. Only you can decide if $295 is worth it for you. If you want to learn about the bootcamp, click below. If you have questions about that template, come back to this video, leave comments below the video about the trading plan template that you don't understand how to fill out. And I promise you, I will get back to you. But you need to participate. For me to help you, you need to participate. There's 2 ways to do that. Get my personal help inside the bootcamp or get my social media help here on YouTube. You decide how much help you want. But I've just given you the outline of what it means to set up a trading plan. Now, getting into what Jaroslav is talking about here, and I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger. I'm going to answer the second part first. What should I do when I'm exhausted? Should I trade when I'm exhausted? No. You cannot make good decisions if you're worn out, if you're burnt out, if you're tired. Shut off your phone, put off all disconnect all apps, turn it on airplane mode, get away from the market for 2 days, go get your head back on straight, go to bed early, stay up, wake up late, get your head back in so that you could make clear decisions. You will cost yourself a small fortune by trading when you're tired and mentally exhausted. So that's number one. Number two is the second part about dabbling, okay? Dabbling into trading, futures, Forex, stocks. I'm not consistent, okay? Talking about how the bootcamp is resonating with them and all that kind of stuff, right? Here's what I want to get across about that. Very few people can master everything. As a matter of fact, we all know the quote, right? Jack of all trades, master of none. So now I'm stock trading pro. I'd love to see you trading stocks, but you ask anybody in our community, I'm only going to answer you questions about stocks because I'm on the path to stock trading mastery. If you're trading stocks, if you're trading futures, if you're trading options, if you're trading Forex, if you're trading crypto, it's going to be very hard for you to have absolute conviction that you are running that business and that business alone. Think about what just happened with Jack Dorsey and Twitter just about a week and a half ago. Somebody finally woke him up and said, stop trying to run two public companies. Twitter, with 550 million subscribers, is a $40 stock. The people running that company, and specifically the CEO, couldn't figure out a way to monetize 550 million subscribers to get that stock away from the $40 to $50 level. I don't even know what price it is right now. Focus is everything. I'd love to see you trade with me. I'd love to see you come and trade stocks with me. I'm doing it for 21 years. I think we have the greatest community in the world, but we focus on stocks. I'm going to challenge you right now. If you say you're dabbling and you can't be successful, it's because you don't have a trading plan. It's because you haven't decided exactly how you want to excel. I'm challenging you right now. Pick something. I know crypto is exciting. I know stocks are exciting. I had somebody tell me the other day, all the money's leaving equities and going into other things. Yeah, that happens every time something else happens. Maybe it goes into bonds as interest rates change. But that's not, I'm not talking about rotation. I'm talking about what do you want to be awesome at? Not good, not pretty good. What can you be awesome at? The more focus you have, the better and more depth of knowledge you will have. I'm telling you right now, being a stock trader, an options trader, a futures trader, a Forex trader, and a crypto trader, all at the same time without trading experience, and I want to qualify this, without even being profitable in any of them, is very difficult. If you have the foundational mindset and knowledge to understand order flow, then you can start to work your way into maybe applying order flow to options, order flow to Forex, order flow to crypto. But if you're not profitable at all, it means you don't have the depth of knowledge yet to understand the difference between when you get a push and a pause, you should be getting out versus when you get a push and a pause and you should be adding. It's that extra depth that you need to understand how to be a trader versus just reading chart patterns, just saying, I want to be in crypto. I want to be in these garbage penny stocks or garbage crypto. What do they call? I don't even know what the heck they call. The ones that just came out that aren't even worth anything. Dogecoin was the most popular one, although that one's gaining. It's not about crypto or stocks. It's about pick something. Try and be good at something. I'm getting all fired up now. I am inspired that you are here with me at 7:30 in the morning. I'm even more inspired by the people that decide to invest in themselves and come into the boot camp with me. But I will not, absolutely not, let anybody who's in my community make excuses for failing if they're trying to do everything at once and can't figure out why they're not successful. You need to decide what you want to be awesome at. For me, obviously, you can see up in the corner here, we're Stock Trading Pro. This is what I choose to be good at, and I've been doing it for a long time. This is what I teach people how to be good at. If you right now feel like you're dabbling and you can't make money and you're not seeing your account go like this with predictability, you're scattered. Click that link that I just gave everybody before and start to pay attention to what matters. Start to work your way through this and come up with a game plan, a trading plan that meets your personal criteria. Everybody on this call is different. Some people just started last week. Some people started when the pandemic started. Some people started 10 years ago. You need to determine where you are right now. And I'm going to give you the question that we ask on every single coaching call that we have, which is, what are your biggest roadblocks right now? It's the foundation of every single coaching call. Like I said, last night's coaching call was almost 2 hours. You need to ask, what am I not getting? And then go find the answer. The more you eliminate what the roadblock is, the closer you get to understanding how to make money. But first, you need to understand what you don't know. If you're not asking questions, you probably don't know what you don't know yet because you're trying to make money instead of trying to map out your success. There's a difference, a very big difference. First, you need to learn what doesn't work. It's one of the first things I talk to new members of our boot camp is make a big list of what absolutely doesn't work. And you want to know something? Big epiphanies, big revelations, big exclamation points of, I just made a list of all these things, and up until yesterday, I was doing all those things pretty much every day. Now I understand why I was struggling. Then the next thing is understanding how to learn to use the profit maximizer. So you got me all fired up today because that one question last night about somebody dabbling just got me off because, and I'm going to say this the same way I said it on our call last night. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to everybody on this call right now. You're here at 7:30 in the morning. It shows you that you have a desire to make it happen. But if you're not achieving what you know in your heart, you're possibly what's possible. If you know deep down you have more inside of you, something is missing. There's something you don't know. Now you need to determine, how do I get that answer? That is what separates somebody who's massively successful from somebody who continues to blame other people, to blame the algorithms, to blame the news, to blame everybody outside of themselves, instead of turning off your phone, turning off cable television, and sitting down with a notepad and saying, what am I not getting and how do I find those answers? That is what I'm all about. And I can't express strongly enough. If you're in my universe, I'm going to keep saying that to you, because I'm not going to let you step back and say, I can't do this. You need to figure out what's missing. Some of you join the boot camp and we go through it in a lot of detail. Some of you stay on social media. Some of you read books. Some of you watch seminars. All of those are valid ways of finding it. The question is, how do you get the answer the quickest? Only you can determine that. But you have to ask the tough questions first. I can't explain that strongly enough. All right, we're going to hop on over into a couple of ideas for today, because I promised to go over some more ideas. So I want to give you some ideas that I'm watching during the day today. First and foremost, I'm going to look at some stocks that have rallied, have bullish order flow, and we are looking for follow through. So Costco is in that list. Microsoft is in that list. Marvel, which had really good earnings a couple of days ago, is in that list. ABBV, which we mentioned yesterday. ABT, which we mentioned yesterday. What else I want to make sure that we talked about today? Lennar and BLDR. So that's a list of some of the ideas that I'm looking at heading into the market today. Now, I just want to touch on the fact that we talked about mapping out the market and mapping out what we needed to see. With the market up as big as it is right now, this is a little bit of an exaggerated move after yesterday's well-bid day. So what we need to see today, especially if you're day trading, is, do we hold the bid like we did yesterday? So I just want to map that out and what that looks like, especially if you're day trading right now. And if we go into the market and specifically take a look at the stock, but this will apply to any stock that you're looking at, this right here is yesterday's opening price in the SPY. And that's where we spent a lot of time yesterday. The higher opening in the SPY, the entire morning we were walking through, do we hold the bid? That's what we were looking for. And if this is the line in the sand, our first significant reference point for reading the tape, if we hold the bid, that's when you get in and start to look for some trades with conviction. And we kept talking about this stock yesterday, Airbnb. So if you're looking to spot how and when a stock holds the bid, the minimum criteria is that opening price. Then you work your way over from the opening price on the daily chart to the opening price each hour, and whether or not it holds the bid each hour. Then you work your way over to the daily chart, the weekly chart, and the monthly chart. As you start to work your way through different time frames, there's different market participants that are buying and selling based on reference points. The key to reading the tape is you need to know a price that the current price is moving further away from or closer to. Obviously, the easiest way to read the tape is to be in a position, because you know that stock better than anybody. What I'm teaching you right now, whether you're day trading or swing trading, is to pick a price. Once you know that one price that matters, you will know immediately where it is compared to that. The beauty of this is it gives you a reference point before you have money on the line. So if you say right now it's above that price, therefore it's validating the buying pressure, it's validating the order flow. As long as that is still in play, you're still good. Your argument to be looking for opportunities is still valid. If you're here If it changes from one day to the next, if it changes from 1 hour to the next, which it very well could based on today's higher opening, now you adjust. It's the same thing as driving a car. Open road, step on the gas. Stop and go traffic, I'm not going anywhere. You need to make adjustments in trading by paying attention first and going back to what we talked about at the start of today's call, scripting out. What do you plan to do if it's above? What do you plan to do if it can't get past that? What do you plan to do if it changes? How does that affect your targets? How does that affect your share size? How does that affect how long you plan to hold the trade? If you're dancing right around the opening price, which we talk a lot about in the boot camp, how does that affect if you trade at all? How does it affect if it goes below? If it goes below, do you still look for buying opportunities, or do you just step back and wait for it to come back and do nothing? Which that's usually what I recommend we do in our community, because if it's not obvious, we just take a step back, we have coffee, and then we look and wait for the next opportunity. And that, what I just explained, is what professional traders do in the market, the sectors, the industry groups, and then in the individual stocks. The more of those pieces that you can put together, your conviction level will shoot off the roof. Not because you're predicting, but because you know what you need to see. And the more of those pieces of the argument that are in place, the more conviction you will have in follow through, because you built that argument, because you know what you needed to see, and because you scripted out what you plan to do before it happened. If it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, like we showed you in Pfizer, you simply take a step back and you look for other opportunities. Okay? I have to head over and get ready for our other game plan call. The boot camp call starts at 8:30. Thank you so much, everybody. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being here with me every morning, 7:30, Monday through Friday. Make sure you're here with us now. If I could just ask you for a favor, if you found this stuff valuable, do me a favor, smash that like button and hit the alert button, subscribe to make sure you get alerts for upcoming videos. All right? Have an awesome day, everybody. I will speak to you soon. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.